in several member states. It's expensive, time-consuming, but the reality today is that, in fact, only very few patents are litigated in more than one European country. I estimate it's maybe 20%. Typically, it's pharma patents. There were some high-tech patents, especially the famous Apple-Samsung case, that were litigated in several jurisdictions, but normally the plaintiff chooses one jurisdiction, and in 2/3 of the cases, this jurisdiction is Germany for various reasons. So we have about 1,000 patent cases in Germany every year, and that is about 2/3 of all patent litigations going on in Europe. So, the new system will create a true European patent, so a single piece of IP covering all participating member states. When I talk about participating member states, please note that it will only be European Union countries. So this is a map of Europe. All the purple countries, like Norway in the north, or Switzerland in the center, or Turkey in the east, they are not members to the European Union. They will not be eligible for the new patent. The gray countries are neither European Patent Office countries nor European Union countries, so they will not be eligible either. And all the other countries are European Union countries, but there's 3 of them who, at least for the moment, announced not to join the system. One of them is Spain. They are upset that Spanish is not one of the not one of the official languages of the new patent, so for the moment they decided not to join the system. They may join later. Another one is Croatia, that just recently joined the European Union. They also may join the system later. And then interesting case is Poland. It's marked in pink here. Poland originally was part of the system. Then they made a study in their country, and that study came to the result that patents are not good for Polish economy because Polish companies are always on the defendant's side. So they, for the moment, also announced that they will not join the system. The green countries and the blue countries are the ones that did announce to join. The blue countries are the ones that already ratified the UPC agreement, and the green countries are still to ratify. So this new patent that will be available will indeed cover all countries by one single patent. It will be prosecuted before the EPO. In the prosecution phase, nothing changes. It's the same EPO as for the current bundle patent. But after the grant of the European patent in the EPO, the applicant will have a choice whether he wants, for the participating European Union member states, what is called the Unitary patent, covering all these countries, or whether he wants to stay with the old system, the bundle patent, that can still be used. And for the countries who are not participating, like Spain, nothing changes. So there will be, as the outcome of a prosecution in front of the European Patent Office, there will be maybe a bundle patent then, plus national parts, a unitary patent covering all participating EU member states, plus maybe national parts for, let's say, Switzerland and Spain. This new patent, the unitary patent, will be litigated in a new court. This court will be set up from scratch. It doesn't exist yet. It's being built up right now, and there will be only one litigation proceedings, and the decision of this court will cover all participating member states. Again, on the flip side, if this court decides to invalidate the unitary patent, it will be gone for all participating member states. But not only will the Unified Patent Court, it's the Unitary Patent, but Unified Patent Court, to make a fine distinction, this new court will not only litigate the unitary patent, it will also litigate the existing EP bundle patents. So, whereas today all EP patents are litigated in the national court, once the new court comes into existence, they will be litigated in the new court. However, because the applicants, when they applied for the European patent, did not know that there will be a new court, they have the option to opt out. During 7 years opt-out period, they can still continue to use the national courts for the litigation if they so wanted. Why would you want to continue to litigate in the national courts? Well, for example, because we do not know how patentee-friendly the new court will be. We know that the existing national courts, we know invalidation rates, we know the judges. In the new system, we have no experience at all. This is a court that has no precedent. It will be set up from scratch, and all the precedent it can take is the precedent from the national courts that, of course, also the judges will be recruited from the national member states. But by and large, we do not know who they are, and we do not know which way their decisions will go. I give you an example. In Germany, we do not consider the prosecution history for claim interpretation, whereas in the Netherlands, they do. Whether the new court will go the German way or will go the Dutch way is entirely open. So if somebody wanted to litigate without the prosecution history being considered, he might be better off using the German courts for his litigation. So as a summary, we will have 3 different patents once the new system is there. We will have national patents. They have always been around and they continue to be around, and they will always be litigated in the national courts. So the national court patent litigation, even after the transitionary period, will still survive for national patents. The old bundle patents will be litigated during the transitional period of 7 years, either in the new court or in the old national courts. And if a patentee chooses to obtain a unitary patent, he has no choice. He will have to litigate this patent in the new court, in the UPC. Eventually, after the transitional period of 7 years, all patents that have been prosecuted through the European Patent Office will have to be litigated in the new court, and only patents that have been prosecuted in the national patent offices can be litigated in the national courts. When will the system come? For the last 10 years, whenever you asked this question, everybody told you it will be in 2 years. Now we are at a stage that it will be really there in 2 years, probably even shorter than 2 years. Best estimates say in end of this year or beginning of next year. We need 13 ratification for the system to come, and Germany, UK, and France must be among them. So far, of the 3 countries with blocking power, only France has ratified. They ratified very quickly because they're happy that the seat of the central division of the new court will be Paris. UK and Germany have not yet ratified. UK has announced to do so fairly soon, although in maybe this year or next year they will have a referendum whether the UK stays in the European Union at all. But they nevertheless announced to ratify this agreement before they have the referendum. So we can have a scenario that the UK kicks off the new court system and a couple of months later decides to leave the European Union, which would also mean then that they leave this court system. But how the British voters decide remains to be seen. One last remark: when the system starts, it will only start with the countries that have ratified by that time. It can be 13 or more. Let's say it starts with 15 countries. And the first unitary patents will cover only the territory of the countries that have ratified by that time. Eventually, the number of countries will increase as more and more countries ratify. So the later unitary patents will have a larger territory than the earlier ones. Finally, because I see my time is up, we don't have the court yet, but it already has a logo, and I didn't want to leave this room without showing it to you. So here it is. In about 1 year, it will be operational, and I invite you all to come to Europe and try it out. Thank you very much.